you can't go about pretending as if it's not there, it doesn't exist, and because you have to acknowledge the fact that that's happened, because your life is good. You know, you have got things you need to be doing, because for you. It impacted me in the sense that, you know, I was much more tired than I had been. You know, I might have to leave somewhere early because I'm tired, or I might have to, you know, got to take some tablets, I can't do this. When I was on my treatment, towards the end, I had these chemotherapy tablets that were a lot stronger than what I had been, and, you know, during those 5 days when I was on them, I would still go about my day, but there were things I couldn't do. So it was my mate's birthday party, and I went, but I was just drinking water, because you need to keep hydrated. You need to keep the water up, because it flushes out all the nasty chemicals. You know, you have to concede at some points, okay, I can't celebrate his birthday with a beer, but I'll have a non-alcoholic beer, or I'll have a water. Don't let it beat you. You've got to think, you've just got to keep positive. It's hard to say, you know, keep positive, because it's, you know, you've been diagnosed with a tumour. It's not easy to take, especially when you're young and you've got things planned, and suddenly something happens like that. It's just about self-love, but don't get yourself in a position where you're so down there that you can't be reached. Just have people there around you. You don't have to speak to them, just to be in their comfort. Even if they're not family, just have somebody there, nurse-wise or medical-wise, that you're there to speak to. So they took it like any family would, and they've been an absolute rock for me. And my sort of enthusiasm to continue as I have been doing, I think, was what really helped them to see that I'm still pushing, I'm still doing well.
So when you first have to deal with a diagnosis of cancer, it's certainly overwhelming and scary. So I've definitely experienced ups and downs, but what's important to reflect on is that overwhelming feeling of how on earth are we going to cope with this definitely changes, and strangely or clichédly as it might seem, you do adjust, and you kind of, what you're dealing with becomes normal, and you find that you can respond and kind of go back to some degree of normality. One of the things that helped a lot was attending a Hope for Carers course. I went to that when Viv's diagnosis was, her cancer had developed, and it was now incurable, and that felt like a really big step. That was quite a few years ago now, so, you know, it's been positive really since. But that provided a structure for me to be out of the house and talking to other people. There was an element of peer support, which is really important, you know, other people that understand and are experiencing something similar. And then there were some practical coping techniques that were kind of included in that course. So things like gratitude, you know, thinking, just focusing, a little bit every day on something that I want to be grateful for. And also little bits of things like mindfulness. I think some of those techniques I have incorporated into my life. I do recognise that my whole life has changed, and that carer is one of my identities now. And as a result of that, I do look out for and take up support from other carers organisations, not necessarily ones related to cancer, so Carers UK. And during lockdown and since COVID, there's a lot more online resources available, a lot more information, opportunities to meet with people without actually having to leave the house, so that's been good. I was working full-time in a sort of quite senior management role in a big organisation. I'm now working part-time from home, earning a lot less money, but my work-life balance is way better, and I'm available to be with her, not just when she needs me for the kind of medical stuff, but actually, when she's feeling well, to be able to do something great, fun, enjoyable. our lives are really good and we're happy and thankful every day, and that's something it's hard to kind of sometimes hard to explain how that happens, but I think it's possible. So I just want to kind of reassure people that it's not the end of the world.
A lot of the time they think that I just serve teas and coffees, but when you get to talk to people and they suddenly realise that you've been a patient on the unit and that you have a story to tell, their demeanour changes completely, and suddenly they're interested, and so they want to know more about your experience. I know what patients are going through, not that they've got exactly the same cancer that I had, but you still go through the same emotional trauma and the same emotional journey. They can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you see people that have gone through it and have come out the other side, it just gives you that greater degree of positivity to fight your own diagnosis and your own illness. I have been asked in the past to actually support people that are going through stem cell transplants because they know that I've gone through it, and so I can actually talk about my experiences and what people can expect. It's not the same for everybody, but the same sense of trepidation and walking into the unknown and the fear of potential rejection from a transplant perspective is real in everybody's mind. Well, I've known a lot of the guys on the unit here since 2008, 2009, and I felt that, bearing in mind I'd taken a lot from them, that it was only right and proper that I put something back.